Shannon from veryshannon.com, and this is the video to help show you some visual instructions on how to resolve your German short row in Purl Twist stitch. So I'm going to happily assume that you have now worked all the 17 rows of your right front and are wondering how to do row 17. I'm going to be showing you the right front first, which is resolved on the right side of the work, and all of your German short rows began on the right side on a right side row. So basically I've on my swatch knit across to where I worked our short row in the previous video. And basically in the instruction for row 17, we say knit and working all GSR DS, your German short row double stitch, as a knit two together. And when we do this knit two together, you're going to be knitting both legs of the double stitch together and placing a marker after each GSR DS is worked. So as you can see here, this is where the gap is, and this is where our German short row double stitch is. So there's this stitch here, and then there's these two wonky little legs. I'll give you a good shot of that. So you can see these two legs look normal. This is part of this stitch. But this one here is a single stitch, and that one is the German short row. So you can see the base of it there. I'm trying to get in there. See, there's a hole. You're not going to be putting your needle through there. You're going to be putting your needle to get both of these legs. So in order to do that, if you look really closely, you're going to have to go take your needle, your right hand needle, and you're going to get not through there and not through here, but you're going to get right in to that stitch, and you're going to get both, kind of open it up and get both of those, whoops, lost my sight here, get both of those on your needle. So come in, kind of get under that first leg and also the second leg. So you've got both of those on the needle, and you're just going to work that as a regular knit two together. And then you're going to just adjust your tension a little so it's not too loose, and then you're going to simply work normally across the rest of the row until you hit another short row. And if you do, you're going to work it the same way that I just showed you, knitting two together through both legs of that double stitch, and then you're going to place a marker after it, which I didn't show you, but you would do that as you work across that row. So I'm going to keep going here, because on the wrong side of the work we are going to come across the short row that we did for what would be your left front. Gonna make sure which side I'm on here, because I'm kind of doing this little fake swatch. It's not really numerically exact to the pattern, because it's kind of just a little, oops, a little swatch here to show you guys. You bear with me as I get across, because we kind of are way down at the end of the row. And you will notice that when you get past the right and the left front and you start to work on your back, you will be combining both resolving the German short row on your right side and your wrong side of your work. So we just resolved one on the right side, and now I'm going to show you how to resolve it on the wrong side. I'm sitting at a really funny angle still, so I look horribly awkward while I'm knitting, and I think I'm almost there. So if you take a look, you can see where this gap is. So we're almost there. And basically what's going to happen when you go to resolve this left front row on row 18, it says to P2 together P1 to end, working all GSR DS as follows. So one stitch before your GSR DS, you're going to work a purl 1, and then you're going to work a P2 together P1 with the GSDRS and the stitch following it. So for example, purl the GSR DS and the next stitch together, and then purl GSR DS again, but only through the first leg, and slip that stitch off of the needle. So I've worked across as instructed here. Oops, I'm stuck in my, I think I'm stuck. Yep, we're stuck. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, we've got one stitch here right before our 2 legs of the German short row. So our instructions say that we are going to work a P1, which is what we're going to do. And then with these 2 legs of our GSRDS, we're going to do a P2 together P1 with these and this stitch right after it. So you're kind of going to see three legs on here, okay? So we're going to make sure that just like on the right side, you don't want to go through this big loop here. No, wrong, okay? We want to go and make sure that we're getting all of that short row, and we're also going to go into the stitch after it. We're going to purl those together, okay? But before we get rid of that, you want to make sure, so you see where these legs look like here? You see that little bump? We want to make sure that is kind of down, because you're not going through the leg. You're not going through this leg down here. You want to make sure that this is, because it's going to kind of tweak itself and move, but you want to go through that one up here. So that's what you're looking at, but this is the leg up here that you want. So we're just kind of, it's more obvious when you have it in front of you because my camera's not picking it up right. We're just going to push that little knot down, a little ball, and then we're going to purl 1 into that first leg here of those 3. And we're just going to purl 1 and then just bring those all off. Okay? And then you will continue as instructed across the rest of the row until you reach another short row. And if you do, you would purl 1 again and then work the GSR DS with the stitch following it again. I hope that makes sense. I'm just going to make sure when you get to the back, basically what's going to happen is you're going to be working those the wrong side GSRDS the same as the left front, and your right side ones you will be working the same way that you worked your right front. And you should be able to not, so this one we've worked short rows on, and it's not really obvious to the eye exactly where it was resolved, and that's what you're going for. You might have a slight gap where your right side and your wrong side ones are worked, kind of like a yarn over size gap, and if so, you can easily adjust the tension for that to kind of close it up a bit, but it really is not that noticeable unless you're really looking for it. We tried to keep that diagonal intact as much as possible so that there wasn't a break in the line on your really pretty cardigan. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email, and that's listed on your pattern. It's askfairyshannon@gmail.com. But we hopefully have provided you with all the answers that you may need for this pattern on our help page. And we do highly suggest supporting your local yarn store. Most LYSs offer help nights or daytime hours where you can bring in your project and you can have somebody sit down one-on-one with you and visually take a look and give you a hand. I really do find that sometimes when something is a little tricky and you're just not grasping it, going in and asking for help or a friend who knits is usually much faster and more efficient way to resolve it than sending me an email, because I've given you pretty much the basics of what help I can provide in the videos and on the help webpage. But if I do miss anything, please feel free to let me know and ask a question, and we'll make sure that you get moving ahead on your cardigan, and hopefully you'll enjoy knitting it and love wearing it. Thanks you so much for all of your support, and happy knitting!